afternoon, baby. Happy Saturday to you. I hope you are having a great Saturday and a great weekend so far. My name is Don Terrell, and I want to welcome you to another spectacular episode of The Color of Motion, where I like to say stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color and diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. This space that I'm just ecstatically crazy about. You know that by now. What can I say? Again, I want to welcome you to the show. You know the drill. Jump on, say hey. Let me give you the shout out that you so richly deserve. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Again, I can't thank you enough for joining me for another great episode. Make sure that you give eCamp, if you happen to be, checking it out from Facebook, make sure that you give eCamp permission to pull your, avatar and name so I can, again, give you the shout out that you so deserve. Also, make sure that you hop on over to the Facebook group community, become a part of it, get engaged. We have a lot of fun over there, great conversation, share industry news, and I definitely don't want you to miss out for sure. So come be a part of the family. We have a lot of fun for sure. Also, like I said, you can find us live here on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook as well. But make sure that you connect with me on all my other social channels. Definitely want to hear from you. Let me know what you think of the show. Any guests that you may want me to try and get on. But just generally want to hear from you. It helps me to make the show and my content a whole lot better, for sure. Like I said, we broadcast live to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, but I do always kind of encourage everybody to hop on over to the YouTube channel, crush that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, become a part of the community. Check out all the great content. You can also check out all the other past great guests that I've had on the show, and just, be a part of the community for sure. Like I said, we're having a lot of great things happening with The Color of Motion. Season 2, like I said, is going strong. Working on getting some awesome guests. Got some, great news I'm going to be looking forward to telling you about. Sponsorship wise, but if you're one of those ones that wants to help support the channel so that I can continue, putting up great content, getting great guests on. Hey, I love a great cup of coffee. Who doesn't? I love coffee. So buymeacoffee.com/Don Terrell. You can support the show in any kind of way that you want, for sure. Again, all these links will be up in the show notes, so you won't have to miss out on any of them. What else, man? Oh, well, let me get it out the way. I want to thank our sponsor for today. I can't, not do this without thanking our sponsor for the day, DG Graphics. We thank them for sponsoring this episode. They help businesses and brands with their visual design content. They do all our graphics, all our animations, overlays and everything. And if you're one of those businesses and brands that are looking to level up your brand design content, hey, reach out to them. If you're looking to start a live stream show, they can definitely help you make you look good as well. So I want to thank DG Graphics for sponsoring this episode. Like I said, got a lot of great sponsors that are going to be unveiling pretty soon. So this is exciting. Like I said, make sure you jump in. I want to have this conversational for sure. And let me know, say hello. I always like engagement and, people being a part of the episode. This is your show for sure. So definitely want to hear from you. What else? Like I said, I think I pretty much got, all the accoutrements and housekeeping out the way. Mr. Gabe, it's been a minute. Appreciate you stopping by there. What's up to you, Mr. Gabe, the godfather of LinkedIn? live streaming. I appreciate you as always, brother, stopping by and being a part of the show for sure. Again, everybody, make sure that you jump in, engage, and with that, like I said, I think we'll be ready to rock and roll. Mr. Downtown DeMille, uh, another longtime supporter and past guest and friend that's been on the show. Super, super talented. You're going to have to let me know how the interview has gone, whether you heard anything or not, for sure. Appreciate you, as always, supporting the show. Been hanging out a lot in the eCam. I'm sure you've been learning a lot as well, man. I'm assuming that you've bit the bullet, got eCam, and is using eCam, or if you just let me know if you're just kind of scoping it out, learning it, and you haven't quite jumped into using eCam yet. But like I told you before, it's a great community. Anybody that doesn't know, that's what I use to put the show together. I always like to show people kind of the back end. As you can see on this screen, this is my eCam. On the left hand side, you'll see the eCam setup that I use to set up, broadcast the show and everything. Super talented, working on them to be a sponsor as well for the show. But it's super, super great software. Definitely will make your live stream look so much better and so much more professional. I can't say enough about the software and the community as a whole. It's just an amazing community. Amazing community. With that, man, let's get this show started. Let's get this party started right. My next guest and friend is originally from Hartwell, Georgia, and is a professional background artist who loves working on new projects with interesting stories and unique styles that challenge her. She graduated Summa Cum Laude from Savannah College of Art and Design, SCAD for all you other ones out there that know it. And it was there that she was first introduced to the industry. She's worked with Sesame Street and designed a short episode with a few of her classmates. And after she graduated, a friend of hers helped to get a test with Bento Box Entertainment, where she's worked for a while and is currently freelancing now. And she's been in the industry ever since. So everybody, please help me welcome my very special guest and friend, Miss Tara Thompson. Tara.
What's good, everybody? What's up?
Awesome. I was telling her earlier, I love the background so much. She obviously red seems to be her favorite color there. She's got red
obviously,
on, red hair. she's just all redded out there.
Right.
Oh man,
Red hot artist.
I'm telling you. And have you seen Red? The Pixar's short?
It's one of my absolute favorite movies right now because it speaks to my soul. That was me when I was her age, and oh my God, the reflection I see in that child is so much.
I haven't seen it yet, but it looks so amazing, and plus it's like I said, I think it's groundbreaking in the fact that that's the first animation where the production crew was all women. The
I didn't know that. That's really awesome.
The production team was like all women. It was directed, the associate producer, and all of that were all women. So it looks amazing for sure. So I'm super excited to have you on the show. Like I said, I've been looking forward to this for a while, Tara.
Yeah, same. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh no, thank you. Well, let's get it started. I mean, what initially, got you inspired to get into background art, animation? I mean, what was it?
My story isn't like most people's, where people are like, well, I always knew that one day I would go on and be this magnificent artist. I wanted to be an actress. Okay. I knew that I wanted to be famous and I wanted to be up in everybody's face because I wanted the attention. But as I went on in high school, I realized that wasn't actually that feasible because acting's really hard to get into. You have to look the part, you have to make sure you're on point all the time, and it just was really hard. So I started drawing as a hobby. And one of my friends, like, casually leaned over one day as I was drawing, was like, "Hey, you would make a really good animator doing animation stuff and making cartoons. You should look into that." And I was like, "Animator, huh? That sounds good." So ever since then, I started pursuing art. I told my parents I wanted to go to SCAD because it was the best art school in the nation, and you go big or go home.
Right.
I wanted to make sure that I had like the best education, and that's where it's led me today.
Awesome, awesome. Oh, and I've had quite a few SCAD artists on the
Yes.
show for sure. What was your experience like going through SCAD? I mean, with meeting everybody, the classes, the teachers. What was your experience like?
SCAD was interesting because when I first got to SCAD, you don't just start with animation. You have to go through all your core classes and stuff like that. So I walk in day one in this 8 a.m. design class, and this teacher wants us to paint and take doodads and glue them and cut things and make sure everything's centered right and doing all of this basically museum design work. And I'm lost. I don't belong here. I feel like I've just made a big old money hole in my pocket and I should have stayed home. Um, and it wasn't until I got into my drawing classes and really when I hit sophomore year and got into my major classes that I was like, no, no, this is where I belong. This is my home. I didn't really know what I wanted to do until my senior year. um, I tried a little bit of everything. Everybody goes in and they
Yeah,
they want to be a 2D animator, and that's something you can do. But there was 2D animation, there was 3D animation, there was modeling and texturing, and then finally background work. And my senior year, I finally settled on that, just
yeah,
because I realized I could do it really well and enjoyed it. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
where it's led me today.
yeah. I think a lot of people, like I said, they start off, I guess they say, as kind of the generalist, trying to figure out what it is
Yep.
that you enjoy doing. Like I said, while I enjoy like animating, I enjoy rigging. I don't know if I could do that as a day in, day out kind of job.
No.
You quickly kind of figure out what it is that you really do, kind of have a passion for sitting down doing kind of day in and day out for you. So, I mean,
Yeah.
was it a big kind of learning curve kind of getting into what specifically a back well, let's jump back. What does a background artist do in animation?
Background artists design the location and the set and the place where the characters interact. So you have your character moving, but the house that they're in, or the street that they're walking down, the park that they're going to walk their dog in, that's what I'm designing. I am literally designing the background of the piece and the place where your characters are going to interact and be together.
Yeah. So what was kind of the biggest learning curve for you in that position? I mean, like I said, you kind of drew, you kind of did this, but was there a big learning curve in kind of figuring out, okay, wow, it's kind of a little bit bigger than what I kind of thought it would be? Or do you
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like SCAD really kind of prepared you for the scope of what your job position would be?
So there was a learning curve because I had never taken an art class before SCAD. And everybody is so afraid of the P word, perspective. So when I got to SCAD and Professor Ingham started teaching me perspective and what that was and how you actually draw things to fit a screen design, um, it was mind blowing because there was a way to do this, but sometimes I didn't get it right. Sometimes my buildings didn't look like buildings; they looked like the aftermath of the apocalypse. It wasn't great. But the professors definitely helped. They will grind perspective into you, whether you like it or not. Specifically, Professor Van Ruyen helped me a lot when it comes to background art. I took a lot of his visual dev class and background environment
Yeah.
classes, and he really helped push students, especially me, towards learning how to do this. Not just learning it, but learning how to do it right and really make your work look impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I want to ask you, because now we're seeing such a prevalence of online schools that are, cropping up and this and that. And I know everybody's different as far as they're wanting to have the in-person experience of attending brick and mortar school. Some
Right.
find it easier to learn that way as opposed to online. Do you think you would have adapted more to maybe an online school, or do you think the in school brick and mortar experience of going to SCAD was better for you?
So I had the unique experience of, for most of my career at SCAD, I was on campus, and then the pandemic hit, and we were back home. Everything was remote. So I have both experiences, and everyone's different, but I am so much more extroverted as a person. So I need to have people around me, and I need to have friends. And there's something about a classroom setting that you can't get at home, right? It's
Yeah.
the same people, but there's there's a different feeling. You don't get the same
Yeah.
jokes, like inside jokes and stuff like that, the same interaction with professors. You're
Yeah.
just a little box on the screen, and that's
Yeah.
great. You're here, but it's not. It doesn't make you very memorable, right?
Yeah.
I think, especially in the job field that I've worked at, because I've only worked remotely, it represses people because you feel like you can't talk because I have to wait on this person to finish their Zoom talk before I speak because it's
Yeah.
going to cut and it's confusing. And I personally loved being on campus. Again, there's something there that you just can't get online.
Yeah.
So,
No, I agree. There's a certain thing that's inherent to working in a studio, in person studio environment where, like I said, you can roll over to the person next to you and ask them this or ask them that. You can bounce ideas off of really quickly in a studio environment and in person than you can through, just the remote type of thing, for sure. How are your, parents in your, you know, as far as encouraging you in your choice of careers?
I think my parents were just about like probably anybody else's parents would be. They were very supportive, but at the same time, like, are you sure you don't want to be a doctor? You're absolutely sure, because doctor make money, um, and I they supported me the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew where I was going to end up because there's such a divide with, I think, my generation and theirs.
Yeah.
Who, when you think of artists, when you say I want to be an artist, they're like, okay, you're going to be homeless in a month and eating bread crusts.
Yeah, this
And
the S word kind of goes starving artist. That kind of
starving artist,
kind
yeah.
of goes together. That's what they think for sure. But
But they were always like, if that's your dream, we'll support you.
yeah,
But they absolutely supported me the whole way through. Two of my absolute biggest fans through and through. And they, every time I had a success, whether it was, making the dean's list again or like getting the job at Bento, they were always there to make sure that I had a big old congratulations and I love you hug and everything like that. So
awesome,
again, absolute biggest fans.
awesome, awesome. I tell you for sure. Um, what do you feel like has been kind of the biggest lesson or takeaway from your time in SCAD that you've you know taken away from SCAD since you graduated?
So this isn't just my experience, it's also a little bit of advice for people who are going to SCAD, or God, if you're just an artist in general sometimes. Take breaks. Dear God, go eat, go touch grass, go outside, get out of your box, and stop looking at your screen. Um, I my first quarter at SCAD, I didn't take breaks. I had to
Wow.
work. I have to make these straight A's, and I have to prove that I am the art student, and I'm going to make the job, and I'm going to, you know, fit my dreams. And I damaged my wrist doing that. There was one day
Wow.
I was picking up a box, and both of my wrists, I felt like they were cracking. I don't have
Wow.
another pain that explains it, but I damaged them. And today I still have wrist pain because of it. And it was because I just overexerted myself. So
Wow.
go take your breaks, talk to your friends, because a social life outside of work is so, so very important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just have hobbies.
Yeah. And I think any artist or creator will tell you that's what, fuels all your content creation, having other things that you enjoy doing that
Yep.
just makes it so much fresher when you do sit back down to paint or to take pictures or whatever it may be. Just fueling into your other creativity. What are some of the other things that you enjoy doing? I mean, we obviously see, like you said, you have this personality where I think an actress, somebody in front of the camera would have fit really well with you. But what were
Aw.
some what were some of the other things, or and some of the things that you do now that kind of, like you said, give you that break away from sitting in front of the computer?
Well, first and foremost, like my second professional job would be cat cuddler. I'm the best at that in the world. But I also really love fishing. I
Oh
love fishing, and
wow!
I joined a live action role play game recently called Amp and it's basically wacky bats. You go beat your friends with some foam swords, and it's a lot of fun. It's super nerdy and it's great. And there's an art aspect to it too. Higher level players get scrolls, and those are made by artisans. So that gives me a chance to not only get outside and like take some stress out on my friends,
I'm gonna beat the
but
crap out of you.
yeah, but you'll know if I've had a bad day.
Oh
um,
man!
but it also gives me a chance to experiment with different types of art. So I'm not just drawing at a screen all day. I recently made a fake stained glass window for a friend of mine who was getting an award, and it was made with resin and a 3D
Oh wow!
printer. But that just it opens up another part of my brain that's still artsy, but I'm
Yeah,
doing something else, and it requires a different thought process, and it's just really refreshing to have something outside of staring at a screen all day.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Mr. Downtown Demille definitely agrees. So true about taking breaks. I'm bad about that myself. Sometimes I'll sit in front
No.
of the computer and have to remind myself to get up, take these breaks to really come back and get a fresh perspective. Mr. Gabe here, question. So, can cat cuddlers be added to your professional list on LinkedIn? I think so, Gabe. Cat
I
cuddler.
hope so. Unless if there's a job open for that, sign me up because that's what I want to do. That's my true dream job.
Cat cuddler, dog wrangler. They all
Yeah,
can be.
yeah.
Hey, you can have your profession and everything. I tell
The
you
whole
for
nine
sure.
yards. That's
Oh
it.
my
That's the
God.
dream.
So I mean, for you, do you love 2D versus 3D, or what's your? I mean, do you have a preference on whichever one? Because obviously, as a background, and they're starting to meld the two in a lot of animations, 2D, 3D type
Yeah.
of thing. But for you, I mean, you do background art and design, but do you kind of enjoy just staying on the 2D side, or do you love 3D as well?
So at SCAD, I had the opportunity to do both. And for a while, I thought I was going to be a 3D gal. And it's not as fun. I even made my senior film in 3D, and it's very limiting. A lot of it's really technical, and I am not technically minded. I am the creative, and I want to play with colors and shapes. And 2D allows for me to do that a little bit more. So that's definitely where I want to stay.
Got you, got you. So, in your process, what's your process for like when you're given a scene? Is there a definite thing, or do you have leeway in kind of how it looks, how it feels? What's your process when you sit down to work on a project?
The first thing that I'm going to do, whether this is in studio or just myself personally, you've got to have some semblance of a storyboard, whether that's like a really crappy thumbnail or, somebody that you've made that has a refined drawing, you've got to have a baseline. And it's essentially just tweaking that until it looks okay. And then I will start on my line art, lay down my colors, and then start shading. And then if there's, multiply layers or overlay layers or color theory, as I like to say, then, you'll add those on top too.
Awesome, awesome. So, are you in the pipeline? Are you getting storyboards from a storyboard artist, and then you're tasked to kind of flesh it out in much more colors, or are you doing the storyboards kind of as well?
Oh
Um,
God, no, no. Storyboard artists are heroes. I can't ever do what they do. I am getting the storyboards from them, and then I will improve upon what they've done. Sometimes the perspective's not right, or there are things that are left out of the scene. I'll usually use a key design.
yeah,
That's another artist who has designed what the set actually looks like, so I can use that to make sure the entire scene looks right. And then again, going through like the lining and coloring process until it's finished.
awesome, awesome. Again, everybody just joining on. We're having a fun conversation with my friend
What's
Tara here.
good?
What's good? What's good? We're gonna, in a minute, take a look at some of her work. She does some amazing work for sure. Um,
Aw.
uh, with your time at Bento, what was kind of the big thing that really, kind of took your work to the next level at Bento that you feel like really kind of, helped step your work up?
The program that I used, I learned, well, I improved upon my knowledge of harmony when I got to Bento. And there were a lot of tips and tricks that the people who worked with me there showed me, a lot of stuff that I didn't know. And since being at Bento, because it's such a fast paced studio and you've got to get stuff out, um, it really helped me speed up my whole process. Where if I really wanted to, I can get a fully rendered background out in a day. And that used to be the biggest challenge for me. I used to
Yeah.
sit there and design the background, just the little crappy thumbnail in a day. And now I feel like I'm doing superhero work. So
Awesome.
learning the program, and then the show that I was on is a bit more technical than others. I don't want to say too much about it,
Yeah.
but it really helped me get shapes down, draw items really fast, and just get your background looking good in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cause I think about that sometimes in a studio environment. Was kind of the pace, was that something that took you a little bit to get adjusted to, just the pace of projects and works coming in and getting things done?
So, kind of, I had the unique experience of graduating college and then going into the job field. I was talking with Bento as I was graduating. So at SCAD, especially being a senior, you're constantly going. You are on. You got to get it done. You got to go. And moving into the job, I was used to that already. But Bento Box kind of picked up the pace because we're not just doing one little thing anymore. You're doing this, and I'm going to give you all of these backgrounds and some of these, and you've got to have them done within a certain time limit. The best thing that Bento did for me was give me a ramp up period because you're new
Yeah.
and you're obviously not used to the superhuman speed that everyone else moves at. So they gave me just a couple of backgrounds the first few weeks, and then slowly moved me up. Would add one onto it once I got done with that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, finally got used to the pace, and it was butter.
Well, that's a good thing to know for sure. Um, Assuming, I mean, I know in SCAD, there's, and to me, because like I said, I've had a few SCAD artists on. There seemed to be a lot more women and females coming into the industry. Was that kind of what you saw um, at your time with SCAD? That there were a lot of women uh, in the program,
I There were definitely a lot of other women there with me, but I think there was an even amount.
even amount?
I can't really say for sure, but in the handful of people that we had, um, yeah, I think it was pretty evenly spread, whether it was men or women.
Awesome.
I hope more women get in the program. Let's go, girl.
Yeah. So, and what would you, Mr. Kenny D? Appreciate you coming on for sure. Awesome peeps for sharing delectable. He always has these words: delectable, scrumptious,
I'm loving
delicious,
it.
edibly tasteful, good, heartfelt nuggets of wisdom. That's
Thank you
right.
for blessing me with that message.
I love Kenny, and he comes on with these things. Oh man, for sure. Um, how do you see? I mean, like I said, we're starting to see a lot more. Are you encouraged with just more, women starting to get into the industry? Like I was just mentioning earlier, Red, and getting into these positions now of, directing, writing, and that type of thing. Does that encourage you? Kind of moving forward in the industry, that you're starting to see a lot more women get into these positions of making these productions.
Absolutely. To use Red as an example, there are a lot of stories. People are different, right?
Yeah,
And there are some stories that men just can't tell because they're not women. For example, Red talked about the menstrual cycle,
yeah,
and
I
that
saw
was like the biggest thing.
that.
And some people were really grossed out about it. And I thought it was hilarious because it's something natural that happens. And it's not just like, ew, icky talk, you're gross. It's funny. And it was natural because it's a thing that happens to girls her age.
Yeah.
And the fact that it wasn't that and she was just like a giant red panda was even more funny. Um,
Oh
so
man.
yeah, it definitely inspires me because that's something I would love to work on.
Yeah.
It's a story that I can tell and you can relate to, and it's awesome.
No, like I said, it's a great point that you said. It it's something I think a man would have a really hard time kind of trying to make into something funny. That's just something natural that happens, which I think goes into the point of just having more diverse people tell their story, because they can tell it from such a authentic perspective, and give it such a
Absolutely.
great honest feel about it. We're gonna jump over and check out some of Tara's work. Like I said, she does some amazing work, and you obviously, like I said, love to play with color. Is
I
that
do.
something that you really try and push when you're sitting down um, doing backgrounds? Is just the color,
Yeah.
and the colors that you
Um,
use?
Composition is everything in a drawing, but if your colors are garbage, then your background doesn't look great. Um, so color is absolutely something I want to push, and the different types of color play that you have affect what your audience gains from the project that you're working on.
Yeah.
So if it's more blue, you get a more lower tone, depending on the type of blue, or red. It's more passionate or angry, and using those colors to invoke a certain mood from your audience and your viewer is absolutely my favorite thing in the world.
And like I said, you were talking a minute ago about perspective. I saw in a lot of your backgrounds, you really kind of had this perspective view of the background that you were doing. So you obviously really pushed a lot of the perspective. Do you also enjoy kind of doing like the character kind of things here as well?
Absolutely. I love character art. Characters are what makes a show run. And if they're interesting, more than character design, I love creature design. Give me a really like snarly, awful monster, and that's what I'm gonna fall in love with. That's what I love drawing. Um, any creature that's different from the norm, where it's not just a kitty cat that has a blue collar or something like that. Something that's really unique.
Yeah, yeah. What are some of the interesting, animations and things that have come out that you've enjoyed to this point? Like I said, we were talking just a second ago about Red. What are some of the animations and shorts that have come out that, like you said, oh wow, I really love the background. I really love the art. The story is great that you enjoy.
I'm such a stickler for the old stuff. So I haven't watched a whole bunch of new stuff, but some of the newer-ish kind of stuff would be, um, oh my God, I can't remember the name of it. Of course I can't. Over the Garden Wall, it was great.
Mm.
Excellent work with characters and background. God, I can't remember the name of the short with Dipper and Mabel Pines. I
Mm.
can't remember.
Okay.
That's great. Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
So, what are some of
Um,
the older ones that, like I said, you've seen that you love? That, like I said, you love. You kind of appreciate the background, the artwork, and things like that. What are some of the older styles that you've?
Genndy Tartakovsky is amazing. Samurai Jack is one of my absolute favorites. The way that such simple backgrounds can be done with just shapes and simple color is so impressive to me. And I am constantly looking at his work because it's phenomenal. It's so inspiring.
Awesome, awesome. Um, so to this point, um, what's been kind of the best piece of advice that's been given to you that you would share with, say, a young girl looking to get into the industry, or just anybody looking to get into the industry? What would be the best piece of advice that you've been given that you would share?
So this advice has been given to me, and it's something that I had to also come across myself because it's hard to swallow. And that would be, as cheesy as it's going to sound, live your dreams, go for it, and reach for the stars. You only have one chance. You have one life to live, and you don't want to waste that doing something that you don't want to do. Whether it makes you a whole bunch of money or not, it still might make you miserable in the end.
Yeah,
And don't live your life with regret. Chase those stars. Even if it doesn't work out, you can get back up and you can dust your knees off and you can try again. Because sometimes it doesn't work out.
yeah,
I have fallen so many times and had to get back up. And honestly, that's the best part. A lot of people forget to look back and see just how far they've come because they've stumbled and fallen again.
yeah,
And this isn't a quick jump to the top. It's a journey. You hear that so much, and it really is. Everything you do is just a push up to the next level.
yeah, yeah,
And you can't forget that. You
yeah,
have to, if you wanted to get into specifically animation, throw your all into it. Um, don't just hesitate. People say, well, you just got to jump for it. You just got to go. And they say, jumping's the hardest part. Jumping is the easiest part. Making that rash decision is the easiest thing. We all make rash decisions, right?
yeah.
I had Taco Bell last night, and that was rash, and it wasn't the best, but um, it wasn't the decision to jump. It was making sure that when I jumped, I stayed on track, right? You can't get scared because you're falling. Remember
Yeah,
that you're falling and that it's part of the process, and you're
yeah,
gonna land somewhere.
yeah, yeah. No, and with that, I always like to when they drop bombs, I like to show that they've dropped bombs. No, but yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, and it's interesting. I think if you look at any successful person, any inventor, or anybody that's done anything of significance, they'll tell you that they failed more times often than you have to go through that process of,
Yep.
of failing. um, but the key
Failure's the
is,
best part.
yeah, it's a learning. And I kind of like to, like I said, I don't kind of subscribe to the word failure. I think I tend to put it towards learning. It's a
Yeah,
learning thing. You learn from it. I think you only fail if you don't get up and learn from it and move on. I think
exactly.
that's the only thing, for sure. Mr. Downtown, this is so, ooh, excuse me, so powerful about not living your life with regret. I know the advice
Yes.
for a young woman, but it really resonated with me. Never give up.
The the moment you give up is the moment you are absolutely defeated. That's when you know the answer's definite.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
worst that anyone's going to tell you if you don't try, or if you do try, is no, right?
Yeah.
And if you're okay with that, then the only thing you can do is go up, right?
Yeah. And I know a thing that really has helped me, that a quote, it's not about the end journey, or it's not about the end result, it's about the journey and who you become along the way as a person on that journey. Because even if you reach your goal, there's going to be another goal that you're going to want to reach.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh
it's
yeah.
always appreciating and learning from the journey is what really kind of helps me. And I try and keep in mind about what am I learning along the way? Who am I becoming along the way as a person? Am I getting better than I was the
Yep.
day before? For sure.
Yeah, the
Where,
moment you settle, you stagnate. And
yeah,
who wants that?
yeah. So how do you? I mean, and with that note, where are you trying to really push your skill to? What I mean, level are you trying to really take yourself to, and where do you see yourself pushing yourself to?
I, aside from background art, because again, I love the idea of location design and designing the place where things are going to take place. If I had to branch out from background art and do something that's the same thing but just a little bit more advanced, it would be visual development. Because that's not just designing a background that your key designers design, it's making that thing.
Mm,
This is what it looks like that, May is going to be at in Turning Red. This is what the city looks like. This is what her house looks like. And that's where I want to be. I want to be in the middle of the story, designing it and making it look cool. And I want to draw all the like really silly drawings that she's hiding from her mom. I want to be part of that process because there's nothing more magical to me than being part of the crew that actually comes up with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that another thing that really appeals to you? Because it does to me, because nothing is ever done alone. Being part of a team project, when you see, wow, we worked on this, and then you see the end result, is that something that excites you as well, this collaborative type of thing, to where you finally see the end result?
Absolutely. As someone who's worked on projects with people, there's nothing more exciting about watching something and then looking around left and right at your friends and seeing the big smiles on their faces and knowing that this was a big project we did and it looks so cool and that's our work up there. Isn't that awesome? It's again, it's euphoric. It's magical. It's like being at Six Flags and you going on a roller coaster together, and it's amazing. It's the most fun.
Awesome for sure. And before we go on, we have to say a big congrats to you for making it to the second round for Netflix
Yes.
as in the art trainee program. She has made it to the second round, for sure. Netflix, I always use them as a great example. They're a great company, even though, like I said, they're in the middle of a layoff, but that's
Yeah.
just the nature of it. But which brings me to another question. But I'll say this: Netflix is I like to say, a really progressive um, studio, more so than a lot of the other ones, in the fact of the content that they put out, the different stories that they're put out. If you don't know, love robot, love, death, and robots.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Love, Death,
the
and
new
Robots.
season just came out. If you got Netflix, you need to check it out. I think I'm probably gonna watch some of the episodes later on today of the new
It's
season.
so good.
And actually, I think uh, Stranger Things is the season 4 is starting in a couple of weeks. If it,
Yeah.
yeah. So, like I said, they put out some very interesting animations and shorts and films, and you love a company that really kind of, you know, is willing to take chances on the stories and things that they put out, for sure.
For sure.
Um, but to the point of like what I just mentioned, with them laying off a number of artists, um, does that? I mean, how does that play into your mind moving forward? That you want to eventually work on your own thing, or because working at a studio is never guaranteed that you're going to work there forever, or that type
Right.
of thing. Um, with you, how does that kind of play into wanting to kind of eventually maybe do your own thing or create something on your own?
God, I would love to design shows. I love making pitch packets. A lot of the artwork that you saw was actually part of a pitch packet that I did at SCAD that my professor said, he could see this being pitched at a studio one day, which
Yeah,
was really neat
yeah,
and really
yeah,
validating. And I think the idea of coming up with a show, especially if you've got a group of friends, coming up with a show again is that roller coaster of fun, and there's only good that can come out of it. So I would love to develop my own show one day, because like you said, studio work isn't guaranteed all the time. And
yeah,
if you love cartoons, why not design your own, right?
yeah, yeah. And I think now, and I always say this, now is such a great time because you got all these avenues like YouTube or all these other channels where you can put out your own stuff if you want to, without necessarily
Mm-hmm.
having to go to Netflix or go to Disney. Not waiting to do that to get your artwork and things out. How do you feel like, because you said earlier that you wanted to be an actress, how do you feel like that kind of helped you in your personality with where you're at now?
It has definitely helped me make an impression. Because if you sit there and you're like this the whole time and you're just kind of quiet, I'm not going to remember you. No, I want the chick that's in my face and like telling jokes and
Got
talking
the
about
red
all kinds of
hair and everything.
got the red hair, talking about Taco Bell, and like, they're someone that's fun to be around. That's somebody you want to work with. And a lot of companies, that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for like the best artist, because there's a crap ton of people who can draw
Yeah,
super well. They're
yeah,
looking for someone who they can work with, right?
yeah.
And that's the big secret. You can draw well, but if you've got like a crappy personality, you're gonna be gone in a few days. Um,
That
so
is
the, get
true.
out. Yeah, yeah. Like what we were saying before, get out there, be yourself. There's only one you, so everyone else is already taken. Already, just be yourself.
And that's what I see. That's what I love about Tara. She's and any guest that's just themselves and has such a great personality. So that's why I know is there's only great things in the future for you because you just got that
Ah,
type of
thanks.
personality. Mr. Downtown Demille, I am too. I want to see season 2 of Arcane. What did you think? Did you see Arcane? Did
No,
you
I'm a
see
terrible
it?
person, and I haven't watched Arcane yet,
That's
but it is
that's
on my list
that's
because I've
another
seen
Netflix
like
one.
gifs and stuff of it, and it's so good. It looks
The,
so amazing.
I mean, the style, and you really should check it out because it's got kind of this 2D flavor style, even though some
Yeah.
parts of it are 3D, but it's got like this painterly style to it. And that's why I love you're starting to see so many different blends of styles in animation told
Yeah.
alongside of a great story as well. Um, this again, like I think I told you earlier, it goes by so quick. We're coming up on an hour here for
Oh
sure.
wow.
It definitely
God, it
comes.
feels like 20 minutes or
It,
so.
it really does. For everybody just jumping on again, we're having a fun conversation with my friend
What's
Tara.
up?
Tara Thompson, background artist, for
Background
sure.
artist.
What would be the ultimate project for you? I mean, what would be the ultimate project for you? And of course, I'm wishing you massive success on the Netflix training program. But what would
Yes.
also be? Was there a pinnacle studio that you always thought you would want to work for, like Disney or Pixar or things like that?
I absolutely would not turn down a job from Disney or DreamWorks. DreamWorks was my favorite for the longest time. But honestly, like, oh God, put me on anything that Cartoon Saloon does. They have such unique stories and such unique art style that fits all of their stories. They're so recognizable and rememberable. And I'm so excited for My Father's Dragon because I
Mm,
read that book when I
yeah.
was young. And it was a book that, when I talked to my friends about, they were like, what is that? That's not Twilight. And it was something that people didn't know about, and now it's getting a movie, and
Yeah.
that's exciting for
Yeah.
me because I read that book. I liked it before it was cool, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's funny because I had this conversation with somebody the other day. Animation is such a great medium for telling these stories and ideas that you just wouldn't typically think, and it makes it such um, a palatable medium. I was
Yeah.
telling, I'm maybe a little bit older and dating myself, but I don't know if you remember Schoolhouse Rock.
I
Uh,
love Schoolhouse Rock. What do you mean? We watched that
but
at school
I
time.
mean, it was there. It was watching Schoolhouse Rock that really cemented in my mind how powerful animation was in really educating you on things.
Yeah.
And really, you don't think about it, but you remember it. Like I said, I think everybody can remember one or two jingles from Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a
Conjunction
bill.
junction.
Yeah,
What's your
I think
function?
my favorite one. I think my favorite one was Verb.
Yeah, yeah.
That was my favorite one, but I think everybody knows I'm just a bill. So,
I'm just a bill. My favorite was interjections.
yeah, yeah, like I said, but again, it shows you the power of what animation can do in just really
Yeah.
cementing an idea or a thought or an emotion, and educating you in your head that you just don't even realize, for sure, growing up. Um, like I said, this has been an amazing, amazing show. And like I was telling Tara, that it goes by so quickly that you don't even realize it. And I want
Yeah.
to make sure that I put the information up where you can connect with Tara and see more of her work, and just connect with her if you have
Come chat with me. Let's
yeah
be buds.
chat with her if you have work for her. Then hey, that's
Yeah,
always a
if you
good
want to
thing.
scoot a little job over to me, that's okay too.
That is always a good thing as well. But make sure that you hop on over, connect with her. She's, go to her website, Tara Thompson, Tara/Thompson.weebly.com. You can see much more of her work. You can connect with her on LinkedIn. That's how I connected with her for sure. She's also available on Instagram and Twitter. But just make sure that you jump on over, connect with her. It's been the best time having you on the show, Tara, for sure.
It's been
And
really fun.
I am just super excited. Uh, ooh, that's over my face there. I don't want that. Super excited. One, about having you on the show. Two, you being a part of the Color of Motion family, and just so looking forward to having you back on because, like I said, I already know that there's big things planned for you, Tara, and I'm just
Thank
enjoying
you.
kind of watching your journey and everything that you're doing along the way, for sure. Any last parting, word of wisdom that you would love to share, going out?
Yeah, sure. Aside from the living your best life, don't give up. Be the person you would want to meet. That's the motto I live by. Aside from chasing dreams, be the person that you'd want to meet. There's a lot of negativity in the world, and you don't want to be the angry person that someone meets. You always want to be the inspiration behind someone's day and the reason that they got into something, whether that's animation or a hobby or a good mood, right? Just because
Yeah,
you happen to be in a good mood.
yeah, yeah. And you'd be surprised how quickly that'll turn a person's mood if you're in a good mood and
Yeah,
you give it out. A person will.
smiles are contagious.
Yeah, smiles are contagious. A friend of mine likes to say, and they're free. you know?
And they're free. It's the best part. Hand those suckers out like lollipops, man.
And they are free. Like I said, Tara, I'm so glad that you were on the show and so looking forward to having you back on the show for sure. Um,
Absolutely. I know
can't
you.
not.
Oops, sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
You've had three of my friends on now, Salvi, Vanessa, and Annika. We were all SCAD buddies. We worked on a bunch of projects together, and I've watched some of your shows where you thought about bringing all the SCAD folks back on. So
Yeah, that's
I
gonna
would
be.
love, I'd love to hook up with that group again and
I
come and
think
talk with you
that
guys.
yeah, I think that's gonna be another good one. Like I said, guys, gals, we got some great things planned in season 2. I think that that'd be a good one. The SCAD group.
SCAD crew.
I have to think of something really catchy. It's SCAD. It's gonna have to go with SCAD.
Yeah.
But SCAD is the Rad SCAD group or something like that. We'll see.
Rad SCAD. I love it.
But definitely, and like I said, they're producing some great talented people coming out of SCAD.
Oh yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. What and before I go, what do you feel like your degree, your summa cum laude degree, do you feel like that really plays a heavy kind of weight when it's going towards a job? Because I think a lot of people think that I need to get the degree, I need to get that, as opposed to just honing their talent. I mean, what do you feel?
No. I'm going to go against everything that my professors and mom and dad have ever told me. You don't have to go to school. A lot of people, you have to be on social media, right? A lot of people are going to find you on social media. Um, and that's not even the biggest thing. Make sure your portfolio is on check, right?
Yeah.
It's the best thing that you can put out. Because again, they're not looking for the highest GPA. I think a Disney application is the only application I put in that needed my GPA, and that's ever come in handy. Everyone else is looking for you to make amazing work. I have a friend of mine. She dropped out of college,
Yeah.
and because it was too much, and it's too much for her to bear. She had some family issues,
Yeah.
and she's in the industry right now making amazing stuff because she can do the work. It doesn't matter if you have a degree or not. It matters if you can make some some baller artwork.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and there's so many resources online. There's YouTube, there's people on Twitter, Instagram who make tutorials all the time. It's so easy to learn right now.
Yeah.
So just make sure that, if there's a studio you're applying for, look at the style, study that. Make sure that's in your portfolio and it's at the front when you apply to that specific studio. And that's really all you need.
Yeah.
School's
Yeah.
great. And I will never take away from anything that I learned at SCAD because I wouldn't not go to SCAD. There's a double negative for you. Because again, I there's stuff at SCAD that I didn't know existed that I now know because I went there.
Yeah.
I can't take back the impressions that the professors made on me and that I also made on them. There's friendship there, and again, just the amount of knowledge that is at school waiting for you is immense. But it's also out in the world somewhere. You may
Yeah.
have to dig for it, but you
Yeah.
don't have to go to college to work at a studio.
Yeah.
You just gotta be really good at what you do.
Yeah. You could just look. You could just go on ArtStation and see so many taught. And then I've known a lot of self-taught, artists, animators
Yeah.
that haven't gone, but they put in the time to get better at what they love. And
Dude, there's 15-year-olds putting out work that's better
Yeah,
than what
I
I
know.
could do. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what demon did you sign your soul over to? Good Lord, this is fantastic.
Oh man, I remember I was just getting started in 3D, and there was I think it was like 15 or something like that, and he made this room. He made a 3D model of his room, but everything. I mean, you should have seen the wireframe. I was like, dude, this is
It's nuts, man.
It's insane. I mean, you just got too much time with you.
Yeah, like,
But-
where did you learn it? You're still a kid. You're
Yeah.
a baby. What?
But like I said, it goes to show that if you put in the work,
Absolutely.
it trumps, just a piece of paper. Like I said, ultimately they're going to look at whether or not you can do the work and whether or not your work is of quality to be at wherever it is that you're at, as opposed to, oh, okay, he's got a bachelor's or he's got a master's degree. They won't. You're not gonna last long if you got a master's and can't do the work and your work's crap. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like that piece of paper is gonna do you a whole bunch of good. But yeah, and the best advice I could give to somebody who's young and learning is reach out to people who are doing the things that you want to do and ask them how they do it. A lot of artists are really cool people. Yeah. We're just a whole bunch of goofballs, right? Yeah. And we all love drawing and cartoons. And if you like that, hey, guess what? You're in the squad. Let me show you the easiest way that I learned how to do it. So you don't have to go through like the years and years of whatever I had to learn or unlearn to get to this point. Let me make it easy for you.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of what I love about the industry. Everybody is so willing to share.
They're so nice.
Share their skills, share their tips that they picked up along the way, and share their knowledge. That makes the industry such a great place. And like you mentioned earlier, I think most studios, that's what they're looking for as far as, culture. Do you fit in with, are you a fun person to work with and be around, and can you share the knowledge that you know with others? So
right. Yeah. Definitely. Be excited about what you work on, right? No one wants someone who hates their job. And if you're just as if you're just as excited about the cartoons and making whatever you're doing like everyone else is, you're in, right? It's the coolest thing in the world. Yeah. Animation is neat because you're just in a big room drawing with your friends, and what is there not to be excited about? That's cool as hell.
I think it gives you a license not to lose that child within you that you
absolutely. Who wants to grow up?
Hey.
Growing up's like the biggest scam I was ever sold, so don't do that. Taxes are terrible. Don't grow up.
Follow your passion. Follow your
passion. Yes. Chase those dreams. Believe in yourself. Never give up.
Never give
All the Hallmark cards.
Yes. So whenever you come across a Hallmark card, it's not cheesy, for sure.
It's not. You think of me, too, because that's where I got all my quotes from.
For sure. Tara, if you can hang out in the green room for just a second while I close this out, I appreciate it. But again, everybody, this has been such an amazing show. I can't thank Tara enough for being on, and so looking forward to having her back on. And like I said, I'm gonna have to sit and ponder the SCAD thing,
the rad SCAD,
the rad SCAD show for coming on and having my fellow SCAD or former SCAD guests come back on and just have a SCAD powwow session.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
But everybody, again, make sure you hop on over to the YouTube channel. All the links and things will be in the show note where you can connect with Tara. All the links will be there. So definitely don't want you to miss out on that. But again, Tara, I appreciate you so much for taking time to come on the show, be a part of it, and just have some fun for sure.
This was a blast. Thank you for having me on.
For sure. Looking forward to having you back on. Everybody, please help me thank my very special guest and friend, Tara, for being on.
Thank you so much, everyone. Right. It was awesome speaking to you guys.
Guys, this has been fun. As always, like I said, man, season 2, we're having a rock and roll time, man, having some great guests come on. Appreciate you as always tuning in, checking out the show, the guests or the viewers that tuned in, the ones that are going to check out the replay. Make sure if you do, throw in the comments replay that you checked it out on the replay, but always appreciate everybody that supports the show, makes it what it is. Like I said, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm doing something of value and something that people really enjoy. Like I said, I know I'm having fun doing it. The friends that I have on, the friends that I made, I'm just having a blast. And so I hope that you are as well. Also, make sure that you tune in next week, because next week's going to be, just as good. Looking forward to my next week's guest, Mr. Jose Holder, senior concept artist with Warner Brothers Games Montreal. He's worked on some amazing stuff as well. So looking forward to sitting down and having a great conversation with my friend Jose for sure. So you don't want to miss out on that. With that, hey, we wrapped up another episode. I think this is episode 72. 72, man, 72 episodes strong into The Color of Motion. I can't have asked for a better experience, and it's only going to get better. Everybody, make sure that you have a great rest of the day, a great rest of the weekend, and a productive week. And I will see you, same bat time, same bat channel next week. Cheers.